Can you imagine if your parents, your siblings, or every single member of your family were actually just pretending? This is how Forgotten begins, a gripping South Korean thriller film that starts with Jin Seok suddenly waking up in a car. His family is moving into a new house, but when they arrive, he feels something strange. The house feels familiar to him, as if he had already been there before. We also meet his brother, Jin Seok. He is strong, successful in sports, and walks with a limp due to an accident. Everything appears perfectly normal until a specific and significant date is established, the year 1997. A detail that will eventually change everything. While looking for his room, Jin finds a door that is locked. His brother tells him it belongs to the former owner, who hasn't come to pick up his things yet. For now, he will have to share a room. That night, while the family is having dinner, Jin hears noises coming from that locked door. He mentions it, but everyone ignores him. Later, in his room, he puts on his headphones and listens to music to relax. But the noises return. He gets up slowly, determined to investigate. Just as he is about to open the door, his brother suddenly appears from behind and tells him he can't go in, explaining that his parents have strictly forbidden it. To distract him, he suggests going out for some fresh air. They go up a hill from where the whole city can be seen. Then, his father calls Jin Seok. He asks him to return home. He tells Jin to wait for him there, but Jin doesn't listen. A few minutes later, he decides to head back. And right then, he witnesses something terrifying. A van takes his brother away by force. Jin runs, tries to help him, but only manages to see the vehicle's license plates before it disappears. He runs back home and tells his parents everything. The next day, the police interview him. Jin gives them the license plate number, but the officers tell him that number doesn't exist. They suspect he's making it all up because he takes medication for anxiety. 19 days pass. Incredibly, his brother returns. He doesn't remember anything. According to the doctors, his mind blocked everything out due to the trauma, but something doesn't add up. When Jin sees him walking, he notices that he now limps on his right leg, whereas before it was his left. Another day, while Jin is studying late, he falls asleep. He wakes up hearing noises. His brother is there, sharpening a pen for no apparent reason. Then he sees him sneaking out of the house. He follows him. Yuso gets into a taxi and arrives at some warehouses where he meets the same police officers who questioned him about the kidnapping. Jin doesn't understand anything. He tries to hide, but they discover him. He tries to flee, but his brother catches him and knocks him unconscious. Jin wakes up at his desk as if it had all been a dream. But finding the tip of the sharpened pen on the floor, he realizes that it was all real. He runs to tell his mother what is happening. She suggests he wait for his father. That night, Jin wakes up from a nightmare. He hears his mother talking on the phone. Jin knows everything now, she says. She's talking to his brother. Jin feels betrayed and runs away. He arrives at the police station. He tells them he's been kidnapped by people pretending to be his family. But the officers tell him something that destroys him. It's not 1997, but 2017. And Jin isn't 21 years old anymore. He's 41. No one has reported him as missing. Everyone thinks he's mentally unstable. Jin returns to the house and finally opens the locked room. What he finds is disturbing. Several mannequins scattered on the floor. Recreate a crime scene. The fake family arrives and then they reveal the truth to him. 20 years ago, in that house, a woman and her daughter were brutally murdered. The case got a lot of media attention. The police never found the killer. The victim's family hired private investigators who finally found a suspect, Jin. His mind completely blocked out the crime. Dissociative amnesia. To find out why he did it, the detectives turned to a hypnosis expert. The only way to get to the truth was to reconstruct his memories, immersing him in a realistic simulation that would take him back to the moment of the crime. That's why everything he's lived through has been part of an extreme therapeutic plan. But the plan fell apart when Jin stopped taking his anxiety pills, which were actually sedatives, and began to remember. He tried to escape and was hit by a car. In the hospital, all the memories come back. Jin remembers that after the accident where his parents died, only he and his brother survived. His brother was injured. Desperate to get money, Jin accepted a proposal on the web. He had to murder a woman. He wasn't supposed to touch the children. He entered the house. He was determined to leave, but the woman mistook him for her husband. She screamed. Her daughter came down. He tried to leave, but in the struggle, he accidentally killed the girl. then the mother. The little boy, not understanding anything, was sent to his room by Jin. Before leaving, he saw a photograph and then he understood everything. The one who hired him was the woman's husband. The boy called his dad, reporting that they found his mother and sister lifeless. Then, at dawn, Jin meets the doctor on the terrace of a building, who, sad and upset, attacks Jin. In the confrontation, he fell from a second floor. He was hanging. Jin tried to help him, but the man, seeing who it was, let go of his hand. He preferred to die. We return to the hospital. Jin has just woken up, but at that moment, the detective arrives. He wants to kill Jin, but he tells him he wants to confess that he remembered why he killed the women. The detective asks him why, and here it's revealed to us that the detective is actually the little boy he left alive all this time. He's searched for the killer to find an answer, as he's sure his dad was the one who ordered his mom's murder because he'd bought a lot of life insurance policies. But Jin, knowing he was the boy, takes all the blame so he won't hold a grudge against his dad, making the detective spare his life and leave the room, only to then leap like Superman out the building's window. But Jin doesn't want to leave things like that either. He ended up injecting himself with what was in the syringe, both dying at the same time. That's how Forgotten ends. Forgotten is not merely a psychological thriller. It is a profound reminder of the ways in which pain, guilt, and unresolved trauma can deeply distort our very reality. Jin wasn't a monster from the start. He was a desperate young man, trapped by circumstances and driven by tragedy. But in his attempt to save those he loved, he crossed a line of no return. The human mind has strange ways of protecting itself. Sometimes it blocks the darkest memories. Other times, it forces us to face them in the most painful way. This story teaches us that the truth always finds a way to come to light, even if it hurts. No matter how dark a truth may be, facing it with honesty and responsibility is always more dignified than running away from it. Pain isn't erased by ignoring it, and the past isn't repaired with silence. Redemption begins when we accept who we are, even with our darkest shadows.